we get started, thank yous come first. So thank you to Catalyst Week for having us and to Red for sponsoring and hiring me. And thank you to you guys for showing up. And a special thank you to Evelyn for being the glue that holds all this together and for asking me to speak. So if you don't like what I have to say, it's Evelyn's fault. But as you guys know, my name is Katie and I do a few things. I'm the lead instructor for digital marketing at Red Academy and do a bunch of consulting. One of my favorite projects is working with Hootsuite Charity, The Next Big Thing, where I'm their head of digital strategy. And The Next Big Thing is basically a Canadian tech accelerator for youth under 25. So we take the top 10 Canadian young entrepreneurs, we fly them to Vancouver, we give them 6 months, office space, all this amazing stuff, and away they go. Normally when I do talks like this, I talk about the next big thing, I talk about other stuff, I talk about how to use the internet for good, and I don't usually talk about why I care so much about tech education. So Evelyn challenged me to talk more about that, and then today in Stuart's workshop, he was like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how good do you feel about being vulnerable? And I said 0. So we're gonna do this together. Okay, so I do have a degree. It is not in anything tech related. It is in kinesiology and health science. I graduated from UBC in Vancouver in 2009, which is a really good year for the job market, for those of you that know to And after I graduated from UBC, I had no idea what I wanted to do, so I thought I'll find the most impressive thing that I can do and I'm going to do that. So I became a neuroscientist. I worked in research for a year and did a lot of stuff around cognition and aging and really cool things. And I think I realized on the 3rd day that I didn't want to work in research anymore. So 8 months later, I get a call from a friend and he says, hey, I know you're not really happy where you are. Do you want to join this startup? I was like, what's a startup? So he's like, it's a brand new company, it's a tech thing, you'll like it. So this startup they were having a competition, and they said, if you sell more ad space in our media company than anyone else, then you can win a dream trip wherever you want, anywhere in the world. And I was like, this is awesome. I have my dream trip picked out. My brother and I are going to South Africa. This is a great way to get it paid for. I didn't know anything about sales, but I did know a lot about competition and I really liked winning. So I was like, I'm just going to go. I'm going to figure it out. It's going to be good. So I go have my interview, and the founder of the company, we chat and I sell him like a Kinder Surprise toy. He's like, yeah, you're great at sales. You can do that. But how about instead you become my co-founder and COO? And I was like, neuroscientist sounds impressive. Co-founder and COO sounds impressive. Okay. It was probably 48 hours of like, let me think about that. And then, okay, I'm in. So that was May 2010, so literally 5 years to the day almost. And by June 2010, the startup had completely fallen apart. The founder had skipped town, I hadn't been paid, our office was like locked, and I had no job. And that was my first foray into startups. So a very steep learning curve there. That's funny now. So I had no job, I had this degree that I didn't want to use, and my little brother was back in town for the summer working in a bike rental store, and so he got me a job there. So I used my very expensive university degree to rent out bikes to tourists. If you're in Vancouver, Spokes is the bike rental store. It's great. But when I was at the bike store, I was talking to another girlfriend, and she said, well, that guy that you worked for, if he can do a startup, you can do a startup. I was like, yeah, probably, right? So with that, my first startup, A Little More Good, was born. And basically, it was a digital media company that was focused on bringing together good people, good causes, and good ideas in the same city. So we started in Vancouver, and very humble beginnings. I got a friend of a friend to make our website. I got a bunch of volunteers / friends, people that owed me favors to write for us, and then literally learned digital media by myself, because this is 2010, there still wasn't anything like structured that I could do to say, I have a degree in this, I have a certification in this. It was just, Google it. You do a lot of Googling. But, so that was the beginning of A Little More Good. And as we were kind of growing that, we decided, we have this amazing blog content, we're featuring all this cool stuff in Vancouver, let's start doing events. We started doing events, and then the craziest thing about this whole startup thing is that it actually started to work. So I would go places, or we would have an event, or I'd get an email from somebody and they'd say, hey, I saw your video about giving blood. That was really cool, and it inspired me to give blood. Or I'd get another one. This girl was in Cape Town in South Africa, and she's like, just want you to know, I read your article about beach cleanups, and every time I go to the beach now, I take at least 3 pieces of garbage with me when I go. So it was starting to work in terms of user acquisition and having this impact, and it was amazing. The only problem is that we didn't actually have a revenue model, which is very important in a startup, sort of. But yeah. So we weren't making any money. I was just pouring all of the money that I could, our startup was funded by Visa for a long time, into building good. And Googling as I went, trying to learn about how to grow your online following and how to get more people to your website and how to sell ad space. And so eventually, once we had the traffic, I went to advertisers that we wanted to work with, and I said, hey, we have this awesome website, we have this great audience, we want you on our site. And they said, hey, that's awesome, we're a nonprofit, so we don't have an advertising budget. And I was like, good to know. So that happened, and then I was talking to one of them, and she said, we don't have an ad budget, but I bet you I could find some money if you would teach us how to build an online audience and teach us how to use social media. And I was like, yeah, okay, I can do that. So we pivoted. So I started doing consulting, and again, there was no certifying body, so I was just like, I'm a social media guru. And then people believed that, which was awesome, and started sort of making money that way, but still just bleeding money. So obviously, instead of getting a job, I decided to go to South Africa. It was great. Learned to surf, it was awesome. And then on my way home, I stopped in Bali in Indonesia for a month to go surfing. It was a very difficult time in my life. But stopped there to go surfing, got some clothes made, and this will make sense in a second, but got some clothes made there, and they were custom, and they were beautiful, and came back to Vancouver and still had a little more good. It was still kind of working, but not really. And so I decided I was going to start another company in fashion tech called Helen Jean, which is custom workwear for women. So we did dresses that you could wear to work if you were a lawyer, accountant, or realtor. They work great on you. And you could just give us your measurements, say what color you wanted, and then we would get them made in Bali, and we would sell them, ship them to you wherever you were. So that was startup number 2, and that one I had to learn all about conversion rate optimization and cost per acquisition and lifetime value of customers and sales funnels and all this stuff with analytics that really was just sort of, it would come out and I had to learn it. So I found myself sort of accidentally on the cutting edge of this stuff. And then at the end of 2013, I found myself with 2 startups, $75,000 of debt. It's gone now, so we're good. Just horrible. And no job, because I had to shut all of this down. And that was my sort of school of hard knocks education in digital marketing. And then after that, got a job at Tech Accelerator, and now I work at Red, and everything's great. But that is kind of the reason that I care so deeply about making sure that people have like a real education in this stuff, so they don't have to take 5 years of their life and give up however much in salary every year and know all of the 1-888 numbers. Do you guys have that in America, 1-888, and it's bills calling you to be like, you're 2 months late. I'm like, no, I don't. I sent you a check. You don't send checks. It's 13 when it's in the mail. Yeah, and it was horrible, but now it's all good. But that's why I think that things like Red Academy, this is a shameless plug, but I think Red Academy is so cool because instead of taking 5 years and $75K, you can take 9-ish grand for like our full suite of awesomeness, and 3 months, and then we get you a job, and you can still work in a super cool tech startup, but you get things like benefits and paid vacation and things that are important in life. And then with the next big thing, what we do there is really, what I try and do there is give our entrepreneurs or our fellows the support system that I didn't have. So there's people there that say, oh, you really need to talk to so-and-so. They've raised $2 million in venture capital before for fashion tech companies. You really need to talk to this other person who knows all about digital media and how to optimize your ad budgets and that kind of stuff. And yeah, so that's what I do. That's my story. Thank you for laughing at my jokes. Yeah.